Welcome to The Common Fan, your go-to podcast for SEC smack talk, top 25 game day predictions, and fan-first football takes in college or the NFL. Here is your host, Bryce Tillman. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and let's talk ball.
What's up, everybody? It's another episode of The Common Fan. I'm your host, Bryce Tillman, and thank you so much for joining us and making us a listen every single day. Joining me, as always, the co-host Cameron Williams. And today we're going to be doing a Monday recap of the Week 0 games. We're going to touch on the Iowa State, Kansas State game that was played overseas. That was dramatic fashion, just as you would expect a Week 0 game to be, in cold, rainy conditions overseas. We're going to touch on the other games, kind of talk about the BIG12, if that was the standard that we're going to see from them this season, with the two best teams, and then we're just going to give a preview of some other games that are coming up for officially Week 1 of college football, guys. But before we get started on that, we're going to do a quick shout-out to Sharp 42 AG. This week's episode of The Common Fan is brought to you by Sharp 42 AG, sports betting outlet sponsored by Joe Allen. If you're betting college football, the NFL, or anything in between, Sharp 42 has the odds and insight for you need to stay ahead of the game. So thank you, Joe Allen. Thank you for allowing us to take our fan experience to the next level. Don't just watch. Get in the action with sharp42.ag. Guys, comment below in the video if you want to take part of this sports betting outlet, sharp42.ag. Sharp42.ag. Comment if you're interested, and we'll get you hooked up with that. But Cameron, diving into the recaps over the Week 0. I mean, just give me some initial thoughts on what you thought about some of the games that was played.
Dude, the first quarter, first 5 minutes of the game, if that is anything that's going to add up to the rest of the season for football, I'm in, because it was dramatic. It was cold. It was rainy. They went all the way down, and within the first 10 minutes, I think both teams had a fumble recovery on their end of the field. So, very dramatic. Fourth down stops, no punting, just putting it all on the line for the first Big 12 matchup of the year. And I'm hoping the rest of the season adds up to that, because it was hectic, dramatic, and I loved it. I hated that Kansas State didn't pull it out, but it was a good game for sure, defensive game.
Yeah, and it's something that we talked about when we touched on it, right? Go ahead. You was glitching a little bit. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Might have been my end. But we was talking about this, right, when we was doing our preview of it on the Friday show. If y'all missed that, go check it out as well. But we were talking about the Iowa State, how they would be able to score. And it would probably resulted off of turnovers, right? And they capitalized on the first turnover that they got. They ended up, I think it might have been the first, maybe the second one. They ended up punching it in for 7 points first on the board. It was 7-7 at halftime. So, I mean, when we was talking about the under last week, the over and under was set at 50.5 points. I mean, we just kind of knew pound that under, because we had a good feeling this game was going to be like this. But four total turnovers for both of these teams in this game, and I think all four of them were within the first 20 minutes of it. That's how it seemed like. I mean, it was just constant. You know, the ball, I think you might have been the one that said it. Somebody texted and said in our group chat and told us that it looked like the ball was a bar of soap out there. Like, people just could not hang on to it. And that was the case. You know, Rocket Beck going 14 for 28, 183 yards, you know. Avery Johnson, 21 for 30, 273 yards, and he played good. I mean, Avery Johnson played really good, in my opinion. Had a big, long run, rushed for that touchdown that we had talked about, that we had thought he was going to do. But, yeah, I mean, it just seems like Kansas State was going for the ball. I mean, going for the down on fourth downs, and some of them were kind of questionable, in my opinion. I know they went for a fourth down one time on their side of the field. It was like 4th and 8, 4th and 7. Like, what? Like, why were we not just punting the ball away? It was only a 7-point game, so plenty of time was left. But, yeah, Iowa State Cyclones going to win that game. 24-21, leaving them 1-0 and 1-0 in Big 12 play to start the season.
Did you did you see the comments after the game about Avery Johnson's family?
Oh, getting in a full-on brawl?
Yeah, he took a L. He took a L on the field and in his family that night. I hate it. I don't know what happened there, but apparently Avery Johnson's dad and his brother were having it out in front of the stadium, leaving the stadium like full-on boxing match.
Oh,
So,
my goodness, man.
I thought it was pretty funny.
And then, well, that wasn't the only game that we had, right? I mean, Kansas State taking down Fresno State 31-7. You know, it was that was Kurt Warner's son playing for Fresno State.
Yeah, EJ.
And,
so I honestly thought that he was going to come out that first drive and they punched in the score. I was like, man, this dude is going to be on fire, and it kind of just fizzled out from there.
Yeah. And then we also had the UNLV versus Idaho State game. That was a game that UNLV was heavy favorites in, but just squeaked that win out with 38-31 for Dan Mullen's first game as head coach for UNLV.
Yeah. That was a 31-point favorite for UNLV, and they won by a touchdown or maybe 10 points, something like that. So it was a lot tighter than what they expected. You never know. I mean, look at Stanford. Look at Stanford and Hawaii, man. Dude, that quarterback for Hawaii, freshman, I watched that game too, and he's quick. The dude is fast, can make plays, and I thought he broke his ankle or something, but he hobbled around the rest of the game, still balling, just on one foot. He showed toughness.
Toughed it out, found a way to win.
Yeah, that was a good game.
I was surprised that Hawaii was
Japanese kicker for Hawaii. Japanese. I didn't know that he come from somewhere in Japan.
Sorry, but I guess our internet's having a little issues. This ain't mine is, I guess. But yeah, you was talking about the kicker. I didn't quite catch what all you said about that. What was you saying on him?
Japanese kicker. So I read that he'd come over one summer when he was a kid and loved football. So he went back home to Japan and was watching YouTube videos of NFL kickers and punters, and he'd go out into the parks and punt and kick, and then he videoed himself doing it and sent it to a bunch of colleges all across the United States, and a junior college for Ohio picked him up. And so he went there, and then he played a couple years there, done really good, transferred to Hawaii, and then ended up kicking the game-winning field goal at the end of the game. So I thought that was a pretty cool story.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, like I said, Hawaii was favored in that game, and that was crazy to me. I mean, usually Stanford has a pretty decent program or have in the past, and it was shocked me. But I guess Vegas knew what they was talking about because Hawaii pulled it away 23-20. So then we also had Western Kentucky over Sam Houston. And Cameron, this is a game that you and I was a little bit skeptical on. We was thinking that Sam Houston would either cover or take the win in that game, and that did not happen. Western Kentucky whooped them 41-24.
Yeah, they come out ready to play.
Yeah.
That's bad.
So overall, I mean, the games for week 0, I mean, you couldn't ask for much more than that. That was pretty awesome. So before we dive into the next point, when we're going to talk about, touch on the Big 12 a little bit more, guys, if you would, please like the video. Please subscribe, comment, check us out on all platforms. Give us a follow. It would mean the world to us. Appreciate all the support we get from the Common Fan Podcast from you guys right now. We're really close to our first 100 subscribers. So
pump those numbers up. Pump those numbers up.
Hit subscribe. Pump the numbers up. Got to get the numbers up, man. That's rookie numbers. So we're talking about the Big 12, Cameron, and this is a conference that is they're fun to watch all the time, but they were kind of highlighting that game right there was your two favorites to win the Big 12, and I just gotta be honest here, I'm not really impressed with if that's the two best teams in the Big 12. I have no faith in the Big 12 this year. I mean, I'm not trying to be a homer here, but this isn't that wasn't a good showing to me.
No, but I'll tell you the other two you have to watch out for. And I think Iowa State has a good defense, but their offense struggled to me. But that Kansas Jayhawk game impressed me with Jalen Daniels. And I told you in the beginning of the season I'd watch. Remember I told you I watched the Big 12 media days, and you said I was really bored, but I was watching highlights of Jalen Daniels. And that dude was impressing me. And I watched this game, and right off the bat, I think Kyle even put it on the group message, was like, he is throwing that ball, and he done really good that game. I think them and Arizona State is going to be your top two in that conference this year.
So I was kind of leading towards Texas Tech. I mean, from what everybody that I've talked to and what I've been reading and seeing, they're saying, hey, this is a sleeper team. Watch out for them. And another one on the other side of Texas is Baylor. A lot of people saying, hey, don't sleep on Baylor in the Big 12. That, look, I've been interacting with Baylor fans for a couple weeks now, and they're really, really high on that squad. So I think right now the Big 12 is a toss-up, right? If you're going to tell me that Iowa State and Kansas State are your two best teams in the conference, then I have zero faith in them to make anything shake in the college football playoffs. But to your credit, like you just mentioned, Arizona State, they were there last year. They took Texas in overtime last year. Now, that's not the same team. They lost a lot of talent, but Sam Leavitt, still a good quarterback, and he will carry Arizona State. Yeah.
Scatterbo was a monster, and he moved on, so.
We'll see. Like I said, if that's your two best teams in the Big 12, I'm not sold on them yet. So, still a lot of football to come. This is officially week 1, and we're excited for it. So, talking about this coming week of actually week 1 football, we've got some Thursday night football games, and I can't hardly wait to get off work already Thursday so I can come back and turn on some games. Looking at it right now, I'm just going to read a couple of these games off for Thursday, and if you got a game that you want to touch on or speak about, just stop me and we'll touch on it for a second, give our thoughts on it. Okay, so let's get it pulled up. All right, we got Thursday night at, let me see, have a spot. All right, Thursday night at 4:30 Eastern. Yeah, 4:30 Central. Thursday night, Boise State versus Florida State versus South Florida at South Florida, and we can go ahead and touch on this one real quick while we're here. This South Florida team is a physical football team. They are some head-hunting, fast dudes down there on the line of scrimmage. And if Boise State wants to get another shot at making the playoffs this year, it starts week 1 for them, because you've got to go to South Florida and win that game to be considered a college football playoff contender at the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. So I've been following Boise State because you see them come out in the AP poll. They're top 25. They're 25th in the AP poll. But I read where a former number 1 recruit was just beaten out of the quarterback battle to a guy named Maddox Madsen. The 5-star recruit was Malachi Nelson, and Madsen beat him out in the quarterback competition there. So I'm interested to see how they're going to play out. Do I think they're a top 25 team? I'm not sure on that, because you have a bunch of turnover, a lot of turnover on that team. But I think they will. They'll have their hands full with South Florida. We know what South Florida can do. I think they're going to be fast, physical, and they're always there. They always put up a game. South Florida does. So I'm ready to see that game.
Yeah, it's coming in at an early spread of Boise -6.5. So a touchdown to take them on that, with over-under being at 63.5. So they're expecting some scoring to go on in that ball game. Next, we have Ohio versus Rutgers. And I believe that's a Big Ten matchup. Is Ohio in the Big Ten?
They're in the MAC.
Okay. I was thinking. All right, so I'm not really going to dig into that game. Rutgers should handle business there against Ohio. They're going to run the ball, baby. If there's anything I can ever tell you about Rutgers, it's always bet the under because all they do is run the daggum football, and I love it. Lafayette versus Bowling Green. Bowling Green is a team that always has sneaky talent, right? Which, I mean, they shouldn't have to sneak it in on Lafayette. I think they should win that game. But Bowling Green had Texas A&M on the ropes last year all the way to late fourth quarter. Like, this is a really sneaky team with tons of talent. I like watching Bowling Green. You can sneak them in on a parlay sometimes with some good odds, and they'll always kind of pull through for you. East Carolina versus NC State. I think NC State's going to have a bounce back year, right? And I was listening to a podcast a couple weeks ago, right? They always say that when NC State is hyped up, they never do good. But when they're always kind of flying under the radar, and nobody's really talking on them a whole lot, that's when they come out and just really just catch everybody by surprise. I think NC State's going to have a lot better year. It wasn't very good last year. So I think NC State wins this game against East Carolina. They're favored by 12. I like this game right here.
Yeah, that'd be I think the over and under is 60.5 on that one, so that'll also be a high scoring game. So yeah, I'm excited to see that one.
Yeah, Jacksonville State versus UCF. UCF doesn't have Gus Malzahn now. I think Coach Frost went back there, if I'm not mistaken, to be the head coach for him again. So good game for UCF to kick off the season and get some kinks worked out before they get into some stronger competition. Delaware State versus Delaware. St. Francis versus Louisiana Monroe. Wyoming versus Akron. Central Arkansas versus Missouri. How about that? We got a Missouri SEC game coming on Thursday night.
Yeah, which I don't think they're going to have any problem with Central Arkansas, but I think this is going to be a game you're going to see both quarterbacks play for Missouri. You're going to see I don't know why I keep wanting to call him Brady Cook, Sam Horn, and Bo Prabula. Yep, I think that they're going to because as far as I know, what I'm understanding is there's still no people are saying Bo Prabula has got it, but I haven't seen that officially. So I think Drinkwitz is going to play both of them, and he's going to see how they react to live game situations and then go from there. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good game to try it out with. It would worry me sick, Cameron, if I was a Missouri fan and we're going into the first week of season, they still don't know who our starting quarterback is, right?
Yeah, man.
If you imagine, I would bet you and your phone, you and Kyle would have to block my number if we're up this week for Auburn versus Baylor, and Hugh Freeze comes out and says, I don't know who's starting this game. Now, he's already come out and said all three of them's playing, but I just couldn't imagine him saying, I don't know which one's good. Like, I don't know who we're going to play yet. Oh, I couldn't do it. Shout out to Central Arkansas. Them boys go in there and play some. Man, we had that cousin of mine, Noah Mitchell. He played at Central Arkansas, and they are always going to get on. They want to play daggum SEC teams. I'll give them that. They always going to play them. So, Elon versus Duke, Thursday night. UT Martin versus Oklahoma State. Buffalo versus Minnesota. Stephen Austin versus Houston. This little in-state game right here. I like this. Alabama State versus UAB. I like that game on a Thursday night.
That'd be interesting.
Look, Alabama State, they're right there in Montgomery, and then, UAB right there in Birmingham, not too far away. UAB's program was a dumpster fire last year. They're looking to bounce back. Alabama State, they've always got some pretty sneaky talent that sneaks in there from the Montgomery area. I like this game right here, this matchup. It's going to be a good, little fun game to watch. But how about this game? Nebraska versus Cincinnati.
Yeah, this one's on my radar.
I like that game right there. Nebraska coming in at a 6.5-point favorite with the over and under being 54.5. And we're going to do some research on this one because I really want to dive in and see what kind of sneaky parlay I can pull up on a Thursday night for this game. I like that matchup right there.
So what I can tell you is Dylan Raiola, however you say his name, the Patrick Mahomes wannabe. They have high hopes for that guy this year. They're thinking he's going to throw 3,000 yards and all this stuff. Like he was decent last year. I watched a couple of the games, and I mean, did it just impress me dramatically? No. I think he was decent, made good plays, but that coach for Cincinnati always seems to have a good team. I mean, I've been following him for a couple of years now, and I think that they're always that sneaky team too that can show up and you not really expect a good game out of them, and then they can have you on the ropes all the way to the end of the fourth. So,
yeah, I like that. Would you say that Dylan Raiola is like the equate version of Patrick Mahomes, or would you?
He wants to be.
Like,
he wants to be.
Is he like the Walmart version of Patrick Mahomes, or what?
He's a great value. Yeah.
Buddy,
he's a great value.
Buddy thinks he's tough, and he is not. So let me just say that.
It's the end zone jump.
He'd have had a little bit better career if he'd have picked anywhere besides Nebraska. So
it's the end zone jumps for me. He runs the end zone and jumps up, throws both legs up like Pat Mahomes. I'm like, man, you're trying to do hell now. Same haircut, everything.
He's meat riding. So Miami, Ohio versus Wisconsin. All right, Thursday night. Wisconsin should be able to take that off and run with it pretty quick, get them a good win to get ready for going to Alabama in a couple weeks from now. So then at the end of the night, you'll have Stony Brook versus San Diego State. San Diego State should clear that one. Only 18.5-point favorite on that one. I'll take that bet. Give me that. San Diego State minus 18.5. I'll take that.
Yeah.
So, that wraps up for the Thursday slate. And then on Friday's show, we'll talk about on Wednesday's show, we're going to talk about the Friday night matchups. And that's my favorite. Because you know who plays Friday night? Auburn Tigers versus Baylor. And I'm so excited. I'm going to be a nervous wreck all week. All week long. Nervous wreck. So we look forward to that. So we got something else to talk about here. Some big news that come out Friday or Thursday about the SEC going to 9 conference games. And Cameron, I want to get your take on it first, and then I'll give a take on what I think about it. And then, guys, when we're going to ask y'all a question at the end. Cameron, I ask you, but make sure y'all participate in it because we're going to try to do put a little graphic up, a roster from fan engagement on this and see what y'all say.
Yeah, so I feel like there's some pros and cons to it. The pros is going to 9 games. You're going to play 9 SEC games, which is going to add one more SEC matchup in our schedule. We can watch another Saturday. But I believe that also helps us in the rankings. I think they have kind of switched gears this year by judging the rankings, and it's not going to be so much on overall record, but they're going to throw in strength of schedule now, which is fair. I mean, you got 6 SEC teams that can be at the top of the board at any time. Big 10, they're not all there. They always have Ohio State or Michigan, but you look at SEC, you always got LSU in the mix, Alabama, Georgia. There's a lot more teams there, Texas now. So I feel like that's going to help out the SEC by adding more SEC teams in the Final 12, and you're not going to have that TCU Georgia championship game anymore or anything like that. But bad side of that is we're not going to have that kind of laid back, easy game again in the season too. So one of those non-division P4 Power 4 teams is going to have to go away, like the Arizona State game from Mississippi State. One of those might have to go, or maybe like a USM or something. I think they're going to try to keep the local stuff going, but those out of reach, long distance, kind of laid back games are going to go away. So that's just going to add one more week of wear and tear on our teams. But
so the way I took it is that they're going to add another conference game still require you to have a Power 4 non-conference matchup with a respectable opponent, but they're taking away one of the FCS matches. So you'll be able to still play the Southern Miss and the Arizona State when we're speaking on Mississippi State right now, just because I know their schedule. But then it's going to move you to where you have to eliminate one of the
UABs
Alcorn State or Northern Illinois games, right? So instead, you'd be slated in to have to play one of your another conference opponent there. So the way I mean, who is your three rivalries that'll set in at Mississippi State in your opinion right now? Who would the three teams be?
Yeah, so each team gets 3 set in stone matches every season. And I think for State, you're going to look at Ole Miss. That's the Egg Bowl. They're going to keep rivalries. Texas A&M has always been a big game for State. They've always gone there. They've come here. I mean, it's ongoing. I can see a Texas A&M or a Alabama. We talked about that. Alabama's played Mississippi State for like the past 60 years straight. So it's kind of hard just to stop that. But Kentucky has also done it too. Mississippi State and Kentucky has played year in and year out for many years too. So I'm thinking, I've seen the channels and how they're going to go about it. And since Alabama has so many rivalries, that is going to kind of fall back on Mississippi State having Ole Miss, like a Texas A&M, and a Kentucky.
Yeah.
So there's going to be one lower tier and then 1 or 2 upper tier for each team.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like far as Auburn's side of it goes, I mean, 2 of them are a given, right? The Deep South oldest rivalry is the oldest rivalry in the SEC. These 2 teams have played more than anybody else in the conference. And the second biggest rivalry in college football as far as how many games have been played is against Auburn and Georgia. The leader of that matchup, it's like as far as teams that have played more than anybody else ever, is Minnesota and Wisconsin. So that's the biggest, longest, oldest rivalry. But in the SEC, it's Auburn versus Georgia. So that's anchored in. That's going to be one of Auburn's permanent opponents. And then, of course, the Iron Bowl. So that's 2 of them. And I've been reading outlets everywhere that says that they're probably going to throw Vandy in there to just try to keep, like you said, the balance there to where it'll keep, kind of break a little bit of the strength of schedule where it won't be so crucial year in and year out. I'm not against Auburn picking up someone else for their third game besides Vanderbilt. I mean, if you want to be the best, you got to play the best way I look at it. So can't run from it. I wouldn't mind seeing Auburn picking up Florida too. Them Auburn versus Florida games was a big rivalry in the 90s, early 2000s, up to when Tebow was there. I mean, those was always some good, awesome games. And then here recently, with the way Lane Kiffin's been coming at Hugh Freeze, I would love to line up and play Ole Miss 12 games out of the year. Like, the way they've done that, way he handles business over there in Oxford, he's a joke in my opinion. So, joke Kiffin. I want to play him every freaking chance I can get. So, but yeah,
so don't forget, it's gonna. So for everybody's listening, it's going to continue the rotation between the other teams. So every 2 to 3 years, it's going to continuously be they're going through every SEC team.
Yeah,
but you always have your 3 every year consistently that won't swap up. So,
yep. So the way they'll have it set up is that every SEC team will play every SEC team once every 4 years, right? I believe that's how it's worded. And then, once every 2 years, you'll go through the conference. I think.
Play every team.
Yeah. And then you'll have a home and a road at each school every 4 years. Is how it'll work out like that. So, well, yeah, guys, y'all let us know. Comment your favorite team and tell us what 3 teams you would like to see them play every year down below in the comments. Don't forget, if you're interested, join the sharp42.ag. Comment below. And Cameron, thank you so much. This will wrap up today's show. How can people get up with you, Cameron? How can people come and check out, see what kind of awesome new helmet schemes you're making Mississippi State every day.
I'm on X. You can follow me at Cameron6698. That's where I'm pretty active on all the football stuff. Everybody's got the Facebook channels and all that stuff. You can look me up on there too. But mostly you can find me on X. I'm always reposting all the football content, the juicy gossip, all that stuff like that. So check me out.
There you go. We gotta get that bio updated to co-host of the Common Fan and get that link in there too. We gotta get that happen. All right. Well, this is today's episode. We will see y'all Wednesday. Thank y'all.
You've been listening to The Common Fan. See y'all next time. Same tailgate.